Hello, I'll be talking about Ralph Waldo Emerson's book Nature, but first the backstory about how he got there in the first place. So Ralph Waldo Emerson was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1803 to two very religious people. The Emersons were known for their religious backgrounds and their ways of preaching and being ministers. So Ralph was taught at a very young age to preach and teach people. He went on and became the minister of Second Church at Boston, but for only a little period of time. Emerson's strong beliefs were influenced by German philosophies and writers like Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and that those helped inspire Emerson's romantic individualism over organized religion. And in 1832, he left the church, and not the religion, but the Second Church in Boston, and then went to Europe, where he met some of his heroes like William Wordsworth, Samuel Coleridge, and soon his close correspondent, Thomas Carlyle. And those three really influenced his decision and his place in American Romanticism as a whole. Emerson married when he came back, and he first married Ellen Tuckers, who died of tuberculosis about 6 months after their wedding. And she left him a small legacy of $1,200, which kept him comfortable. And then he married a second wife, Lydia Jackson, and they both moved to Concord, Massachusetts in the outskirts and lived in the Coolidge house. And there he lived his independent scholar life, where he would write in journals and in notebooks, and he'd write letters to correspondents in the United States and in Europe. And in those letters and notes, he wrote his first book, Nature, which Nature was published in 1836 anonymously by Emerson. And in the book, he is concerned with man's relationship with the natural world as man's world is growing, in the Americas at least, with the rapid economy and the strong market economy at the time. The purpose of the book was more of an invitation to observe nature and to point out the manifestation of spirit in material existences and external events. It's broken down into 9 pieces, where he starts describing true solitude and how you have to separate yourself from the outside world, and you have to see with your eyes what it really holds, i.e. what nature can do for you and what the beauty of it is. In 4 chapters, Commodity, Beauty, Language, and Discipline, he talks about the way man uses nature and the insight at how the universe works. In chapter 6, Idealism, he talks about if nature even exists at all, that the idea of nature is just a perceptive trick from God that just messes with us as we go along in our lives. Chapter 7 talks about spiritual qualities and the purpose of nature, like why do we have it in the first place. And then chapter 8, or the prospects, is receiving the insight and the law and orders of nature, which again, just more along the lines, just explains how the world just kind of needs to look around and just appreciate the nature and the fact that we have it and use it to its full advantages. Even though it was published anonymously, everyone kind of knew it was Emerson. So around that time, like a small group of people formed around him. Henry David Thoreau was part of these people as well, and they became the Transcendentalists. And really their idea was more on the lines of, they thought, an idealistic or a transcendentalist philosophy, where they believe that God and nature are connected, and we need to work and appreciate the fact that they're connected. Later on in his life, Emerson will go to talk about more about his transcendentalist ideas and philosophies, and eventually get kicked out of some universities. But later on in the 1850s, he began advocating for anti-slavery movements and writing more poetry and about pride and in his transcendentalist ways, which is what he's mainly known for. He would die later on in the late 19th century, really not being as appreciated as he should be as a writer and a poet. But Ralph Waldo Emerson's nature really does open the eyes into how we can truly get lost in our own world. It is more like a sermon or something along those lines, because it's not telling a story, but it's telling you how you need to just be more aware and be more accepting towards the fact of nature and how it needs to play into your life.